branding of the channel was actually not 100% dictated by me. Now, the first channel that I actually started up, even though I wasn't the first one to upload a video to it, was NCIX.com for NCIX.com, the computer retailer. So I had the benefit of at least being aware when I created my channel that there was going to be no way to rename it or change my URL in the future, although that's changed somewhat now. So I knew I had to pick something that at least made an ounce of sense. You see a lot of users out there with channel names that just have nothing to do with the videos that they actually make now. So at least I had that going for me, but I was fairly constrained in terms of what I could do. With NCIX Tech Tips, the challenge that we had was that they were so time-consuming and so expensive to make, and the viewership was so low that it was hard to justify making more than 3 or 4 a month. But we wanted to be able to take like more whoops, I've got stuff stuck here. We wanted to be able to take like more products and make videos of them so customers could have the benefit of feeling hands-on even though they were probably going to be ordering it online. So that was where, as an extension of NCIX Tech Tips, this whole Linus Tech Tips came along. We wanted it not branded NCIX, so the lower production values wouldn't seem like it was an official NCIX video, but with this like basement, quality hand cam thing going on. But we wanted it to be similar enough, so that's where the whole Tech Tips thing came from, that there was an obvious association. So the channel was created as part of a project for NCIX, not as a personal channel in the first place. This is something that always surprises people when they ask me and when I answer, and I actually don't watch a lot of content on YouTube, or really a lot of content in general. I mean, since my son was born almost 2 years ago, I've probably seen, I don't know, about 10 movies. Frozen twice, but, who hasn't at this point? So, no, my channel was definitely created for the sole purpose of creating content because it was my job at the time. I guess that answer ties in pretty well to this next question. My inspiration at the time was my boss. I've told this story a few times, but what the hey, I'll tell it one more time. Back in 2008, I guess, 2007, 2008, when we were first starting this up, Tiger Direct, the US retailer, had the biggest YouTube channel out of any tech retailer. So my boss pulled me into his office and basically went, look, these guys have this YouTube channel. We need to get more exposure with a YouTube channel. So, you're pretty enthusiastic and you'll look okay on camera. You go make videos. And so that was all the motivation I needed. And then I had a partner in crime, so to speak, who is still to this day only known as the cameraman, who did all of the filming and editing, and then I was responsible for the technical know-how and the on-camera presence. When I first started out, we actually had, when we first started NCIX Tech Tips, we had a pretty janky setup. So the president of the company was the only one that we could think of that actually owned a camcorder at all. And it was a hard drive based unit, so actually pretty decent at the time for a handheld camcorder. It shot in 720p, and basically he had bought it for his son to record videos, and me and cameraman asked to borrow it one day and then never gave it back. To this day, that camera is actually sitting in the NCIX Tech Tips filming room. For my own channel, for Linus Tech Tips, I started out with Canon SX1IS, which was an exceptional camera at the time. I mean, absolutely fantastic. It was able to shoot 1080p video, it had stereo sound recording, and it had a fantastic zoom and autofocus. And that camera would have worked very well for a long time afterwards if I hadn't accidentally spilled chicken soup on it in my backpack and had it die, and then my replacement one that I ordered on eBay that had a scratched lens hadn't had such difficulty autofocusing. So these days we have much better equipment. I don't really think there was one particular video that accelerated my channel's growth. It was more to do with the consistency of the content. So here on Linus Tech Tips, the major catalyst was when we started doing daily content. So we committed to ourselves, okay, we are going to upload a video every day, come hell or high water, and there will be no excuses. And our main advantage at that time was the fact that working at a retailer, I had access to so much hardware that most people just really wouldn't. So we were able to pump out videos on every possible video card or CPU or monitor or whatever it is people asked for. We could make a video about it. So that was, a lot of people ask me, how do I get started as a tech channel? And figuring out that piece of the puzzle, how to actually get access to the tech in the first place, is huge. That was absolutely huge for me. I think the thing that kept me on YouTube versus anywhere else was that with the intention being to reach as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible, without really any concern for actually making money on the videos. I mean, YouTube was perfect. You could build up this subscriber base, you know, some of them would be local and they could buy from you, some of them wouldn't, but either way, you were building brand presence and awareness. There was no thought given to how can we make money on this. When the money came and when I eventually left NCIX, that was definitely a huge bonus, but it wasn't something that we were concerned with at the very beginning. YouTube first became a full-time job for me actually fairly deep into the existence of my channel. I mean, LinusTechTips had been around for, must have been almost about 4 years. By the time I left NCIX, negotiated a deal with them where the LinusTechTips channel and its assets would belong to me to form my own company. And that was in January 2013, so that was only about a year and a bit ago. And since then, YouTube is not only a full-time job for me, but also for my staff. I started out with 2 guys helping me, and now I'm up to 4. And we're continuing to have a ton of fun. It's been extremely exciting. So, no, it's been great. And I think this ties in well to the next question. How did you adapt to having YouTube as a full-time job? Well, I mean, it was very, very different. You go from having a paycheck and not really ultimately caring. I mean, you want to create the best content you can, but you don't ultimately live or die by the success of every video. And, you know, every person who unsubscribes or leaves a negative comment doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you're going to sell hard drives anyway, and you'll get your paycheck. Whereas now that YouTube is my full-time job, and now that retaining that audience is so critical to my survival, you know, I think I spend a lot more nights lying awake figuring out how to please the audience, how to deliver the content that they're going to be most interested in, versus before I just kind of made videos about, you know, whatever I felt like, or I'd walk into the back of the warehouse and I'd be like, oh, that's got a cool box, I'll grab that and open it up. So it was a complete change in mentality for me, and I think this also ties into the next question pretty well. One of the biggest changes in my life was figuring out how to not only support myself, but also support other people with this. Because aside from just even my family, so I have to support myself and my family, I kind of dove in and I went, okay, even though I don't really have the money right now, I had no startup capital when I decided to go indie. Even though I don't have the money right now, I'm going to commit to hiring these 2 people in full-time positions. I'm going to commit to paying their salaries every month, and I'm just going to have to find a way to do it. So I'd say the biggest change going YouTube full-time was sleepless nights. Figuring out how you're going to scale that, how you're going to give people an opportunity not only to just have a job and collect a paycheck, but advance their own careers and work towards their own goals. I mean, that's really important if you're going to have any chance of keeping people around in the longer term, which I want to. You know, I think the biggest difference between me when I first started and me now was that when I first started, I was at a retailer and other YouTube channels were competitors to me. So Tiger Direct had a YouTube channel, Newegg had a YouTube channel. So really there was other than the occasional sort of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, there was basically no acknowledgement of each other's existence. Whereas, had I known better, I would have worked a lot harder to collaborate with other channels. I mean, like what I'm doing right now. Trying to kind of get out there and get in front of other people and have them, you know, interact with me on my channel, do more collaborative giveaways, promotions, just work together with the community more, because the way I felt at the beginning was that, you know, there could only be one tech channel and that it would have to win. It would have to be better than all the other ones. Whereas now I can see that there's so much room for more than one within the same space, and actually they build upon each other and they make each other stronger in certain ways, because having more than one tech channel succeeding and making an impact out there makes the entire ecosystem of YouTube and tech reviews on YouTube make a lot more sense to potential advertisers, and it legitimizes us to have there be more than one of us. I mean, look back at any shift in media over time. I mean, would magazines have succeeded if there had only been one magazine ever? Would that have been taken seriously by advertisers if they couldn't see, you know, proof in a variety of different formats before they went and invested in something? So no, I definitely wish I had collaborated more, and I'm starting to do it more now, but even then I don't have as much time as I wish I did, but it's a huge thing for starting out YouTube channels. I actually have no idea where my future lies. For the foreseeable future, I will be on YouTube just because the same reasons that I started up on YouTube still exist. YouTube is the #1 online video platform. It's free for me to use. I do collect some revenue just from YouTube AdSense alone, although that's not our biggest source of revenue anymore. So there's a little bit of money in it, which is great. The platform is overall very reliable. In the early days, it was tough. I mean, sometimes the uploader would be broken for days in one browser or another one, or just all together. And when you have a daily release schedule, I mean, okay, so I can't release videos, what am I going to do? Or like crazy stuff, like you would set a video to be private upon upload because there's like an NDA or an embargo, and if you break it, then you're gonna be like breaking a legal contract by releasing the information early, and the private setting wouldn't stick and the video would go public and there'd be nothing you could do about it. So I've been with YouTube through much harder times than the recent Google Plus comment merger, and I think they would have to do something really devastating to themselves in order for me to consider jumping ship, because all I really care about right now is the biggest number of eyeballs on my videos so that I can basically increase, you know, the influence that I have, so that I'm able to prove that people want to see this content, so that I'm able to take the things that I'm passionate about and hit the largest number of eyeballs with them. I mean, that is what YouTube brings to the table, and for the time being, I don't really see us shifting away from there. I mean, it's not like other channels, like Freddie W is a great example, where at some point, you know, he'll probably abandon YouTube entirely, and, you know, whether it's a TV series or whether it's filmmaking or whatever the case may be, he'll go in that direction and YouTube might not have that much appeal to him anymore. But for what I'm doing, where it's just predominantly product-based, you know, it's reviews, it's educational content, whatever's the biggest platform is the one that I'm going to gravitate towards. But I mean, you know, hey, if I had an opportunity to, you know, be like the guy that makes the video before the movie trailer or something and, you know, walks you through the latest cell phone or whatever, I mean, hey, I'd look at those.